Hello friends! For this week's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made the track that I just played you. Banks is one of my favorite artists, so I thought why not try to do a little thing where I take elements from her music and try to incorporate them into my own sound. I am trying to get better at producing my own stuff, and I thought this would be a fun project to kind of mimic another style of production to try and find my own style of production because I'm still figuring that out. And I'm also such a huge fan of Banks's production on all her songs. So this is my attempt at trying to create some of the same themes and sounds that I hear. The day that I'm filming this, her new album actually just came out this morning, I believe. And I listened to it earlier and I already am obsessed with it. I don't have any favorites yet because I only really listened to it once all the way through. But yeah, amazing. So if you want to know how I made my Banks inspired song, watch the rest of the video. So I'm gonna try to walk through the process start to finish. Although it has taken me quite a while, I just kind of want to go through what I did to prepare and the research that I did, because I did do a lot of research. So I chose a bunch of my favorite songs from her first 3 albums, ones that had similar keys, similar themes, similar feel in the music. By the way, the songs I chose were Brain, Gemini Feed, Mind Games, Judas, and Contaminated. Just to give you an idea of the sound. So I used Chordify to find out the keys of each songs and the most popular chords, and I played around with those for a little bit. So a lot of her songs are in A minor, E minor, B minor, and the relative majors to those. I mean, either or really works, I guess. So for my song, I chose the key of B minor, and then I also tried to research for the BPM of each song. So most of them are around 100 BPM, give or take. A lot of hers are a little bit slower. I think I ended up going with 108, just cause. So according to Chordify, the most commonly used chords within those songs I found were E minor, G major, A minor, C major, D major, and B minor. So yeah, basically what I did is I just kind of took a couple of those chords and did a little chord progression. I kept it really, really simple. By the way, I made this whole thing on Garageband, and I don't really have any extra plugins, I don't think. I think the plugins I did have are expired. So this is just using GarageBand, everything was free, and I'm just playing around with those sounds that are already there. So the chords that I chose to use were B minor, G major, E minor, and then B minor, D major, E minor. And that is the bass chord progression throughout the entire song. Okay, so I want to show you what the bass keys are. So I first started out with these bass keys right here in the chord progression that I just told you, and it sounds like this. Just taking a look here on GarageBand, I'll show you everything that I used. So it was a synthesizer, it was a bass synthesizer. I don't know why I have a hard time saying that. And I just chose basic keys, and then this bass phaser right here I thought was pretty cool. I probably added a little bit of this. And then under the controls, you can play around a bit. I don't usually do too much, but I always customize it a little bit. I think I added some tremolo, probably a little bit more decay, and then I probably messed around with these formants there. And the EQ, I put a little EQ on it, just taking out any of the higher parts and lifting the lower parts where you can see the music is playing from. That's what I love about GarageBand, the EQ is so easy to use. I feel like it's the most user-friendly EQ I've ever seen, in my opinion. So now we have here the dark bass pad. Oh, and also you probably noticed I panned them left and right for a lot of these synths and stuff and bass things. So again, I still used the bass keys plugin from the bass synthesizers, but this time I went to Lush Organ. This is what this one sounds like. So obviously it's a lot quieter, it's a lot lower. I just kind of wanted to build on that dark, heavy, moody sounding bass because I feel like that's prevalent in a lot of the Banks songs that I chose to draw inspiration from. And all together, I think they just kind of sound nice together, and I think they kind of just swell up nice together. So here's all 4 of those keys. The second one also has some tremolo. I probably played around again with this formant over here a little bit. Again, the harmonic stretches in the very corners because I find it just creates a little too much with that going on. Again, I probably added some attack, delay. Yeah, I believe that's all I did for this one, and then I did a little EQ. And so that is for the intro. Also in the intro, there is some of these strings. So I'll play you, I believe this is just the same thing, panned out left and right. So for the strings, I did the chords a little bit different. I did B minor, A major, G major, then B minor, A major, E minor. So again, using the same chords, they're just in like a different order. Okay, so in GarageBand, this is again another synth, but this time it's a string, and it's called Dusty Strings. It looks like I added a little bit of an EQ, just kind of upping where this little sound was coming from. And then the pad here, I chose Drifting Dirt. It's just the first one. I changed the reverb, a delay. I think I added more onto those. Again, I keep these always in the left corner. Oh, I added quite a bit of shimmer, a little bit of tremolo, decay. I also have this little chant here that I tried to do at the beginning. I know Banks has talked about before how she does these things she calls chants. And you can hear them in a lot of her songs. So I chose songs to focus on that I felt had these chants. Like she'll have like a very distorted kind of deeper voice singing the harmony with her, and then another one on top. So okay, so I just got rid of the top end because I wanted it obviously to be like the lower end of my voice. I did like, this is just a regular EQ that I usually put on my voice. Put some reverb, some ambience. There's a bit of compression going on here. I did a single EQ to get that super like high cut because it's cutting out the highs. So it's gonna be more lows. So I want to play you it without any distortion or anything before I added this. So see, it's just my voice. And then this is really what makes that dark voice pop out. So basically I just went to sub pressure, which is a preset, and I think I changed these a little bit just because I wanted to hear like the normal voice that I had, and then I wanted the sub bass to be like something underneath, but still like you can really hear it like you can in her songs. And then I have distortion on it, so I just did it's a preset crunch distortion. Again, I think I played around with these controls a little bit. I just have a higher harmony. It sounds like this. What did I do on this one? We've got a little, just kind of a standard compressor, not too much happening there. Just my standard EQ that I usually like to do on my voice. I added a little phaser. It's not really doing too much. I'll show you what it sounds like without all this extra stuff added. Then I added this fuzz wah. I believe this is just a, I don't even know what this is. Oh, it's just under filter. And then this last thing right here is just a reverb. And then the chant sounds like this. Okay, so we have our little chant, we have our bass keys, we have our little strings. Now I have these little drums. I'm calling everything little. I have these drums coming in about like right as my lyrics kind of start, a couple bars in, like 2 bars in. So this in GarageBand is just the electronic drum kit. It's called Warm Embers. I don't know, I just thought, I feel like this is kind of gives a Banks vibe. This is what I have for a little drum set. I add to it a little bit later on just because I feel like her drum stuff usually switches up a lot in the songs, and the verses usually start out a little bit more chill for the most part. Then I added this Boutique 808 drum. Again, all these I believe were just already preset with this drum set. So I basically just wanted to add this onto what I had from the Warm Embers drum set, and so it sounds like all together. It comes in after a bar of this little drum. I believe I added the space designer here. I think I did add the stereo delay, and then I put a little compressor on it just because I wanted it to be like kind of like a gated drum kind of thing. I think I added a little bit of distortion, a little bit more delay. Didn't mess around with these too much. And then as we go a little bit further, I think I added for the pre-chorus, another bass that I added on just because I wanted that more dark, full sounding bass because the verse is relatively quiet for this song. Again, we have another synthesizer bass. This one is the dark, heavy bass. This one I really, really enjoyed. This is what it sounds like. This is what it sounds like with all the bass synthesizers together. I just took out a lot of the high end because I wanted these to be really dark, like moody bass. I liked this preset was just dark and snappy. Added a little bit of reverb. Again, I always keep these in the left-hand corner. I detuned it a little bit. I put the drive up a little bit. Don't think I touched any of that. And I probably put decay. Yeah, and then I wanted this to be very sustained, so I believe I adjusted that as well. So that kind of leads us in to the chorus along with these strings that I added in at this point. So these strings come in a little bit later at the exact same time that that bass that I just showed. Again, it's the exact same as the dusty strings that I showed earlier. This one's just a little bit more staccato and a little bit darker too, and more present in the mix. Under orchestral and then under strings and just this string ensemble. I don't think I played with too much here. I added a lot of reverb and ambience, maybe a bit of sustain and decay. I don't think I played around with too much else. And then I just kind of lifted up this because, as you can see, it's kind of where the sound I wanted is coming from the most. And yeah, just panned them out a little bit. So this one's, I didn't rename them, but this one's the right one, this one's the left one. And then this is what they sound like with the dusty strings. Yeah, I think they complement each other really nicely. I think they sound really pretty together. Also, so at the same time in that second half of the first verse, just about a bar after the strings come in, I added more bass to this. Just to give, again, more dynamic, a little bit more excitement leading into the pre-chorus. Okay, so I added this key harmonic scream synth. That's what I chose. Okay, so I'll play it for you. That just repeats once in the pre-chorus, just to give a little bit of something new. What did I do here? I just chose this first one, high gain. I for sure added some reverb and delay. I put a lot of distortion on, some symmetry, lots of vibrato, sustain, not decay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It is many hours later. My phone ran out of storage. I've been having many difficulties with it, but I know exactly where I left off, so let's pick right back up. Okay, so I believe we left off on this synth, and I was looking at the EQ, and I just did like a high shelf EQ to get rid of some of the high end. Okay, so that is everything up to the end of the pre-chorus. So for the chorus, I didn't really change too much. I kept all the synths the same, the strings are the same chord progressions. I wanted to keep it simple. Because I kept it so simple with the bass and the strings and everything, I wanted to add some more dimension with some more drums. So I just added this Beat Machine preset, and this is what it sounds like. Okay, so what did I do here? I believe this is all just preset. I didn't change anything. I may have played around with the EQ a little because I wanted more high end. And that just comes in for most of the chorus. And then a little bit later, I added another drum towards the end of the chorus. So this is Above and Beyond. This is under the electronic drum kit again. I just wanted like a really reverby, like hard snare kick kind of thing. So basically all I did to this one was add the space designer. I did the percussion under medium gated reverbs because I wanted that kind of gated reverb. I feel like Banks has a lot of that in her songs, especially in Gemini Feed in the chorus, that one where it's like this hard kind of like snappy clap that just gets like this huge reverb on it. It goes super hard. Okay, so basically the last element I added comes in like near the end of the chorus. You'll see how it kind of works into the melody. The first thing I added was this phantom bass. This is just under synthesizer, EDM. Oh, it's an EDM bass. Okay, cool. I think. Yeah, phantom bass. It's really cool. Again, it's just really like kind of adds more texture to the song. I knew I wanted like another little bass kind of moment happening at least some point in the chorus because I do feel like Banks kind of layers those bass sounds. I mean, this one is kind of different, but I don't know. I just really was like, oh, that's such a sick sound. I don't think I did too much to this one. I believe I played around with the EQ here, taking off some high end and just emphasizing where that kind of like peak part is. You can see there. Yeah, and then I panned it slightly to the left. I have a bit of a delay going on here. The glide here, I definitely played around with this. I think that's what kind of gave it the nice kind of like woo, kind of that cool gliding sound where it's kind of bleeding into the next note. And yeah, what else did I do? Delay, reverb, ambience. And then to go along with that, I have this toy glockenspiel right here, and it's just the exact same thing. It's just kind of complementing the phantom bass there. So this melody kind of just repeats another 2 times. The last one is a little bit different. For panning, the phantom bass is a little to the left and the glockenspiel is like a little bit to the right, just because I wanted them to kind of complement each other, so I tried to make them symmetrical. Yeah, this is what they sound like together. So yeah, honestly, that is pretty much the whole song. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is the lyrics very briefly. So in terms of the lyrics, the songs that I got the most inspiration from were very much like just kind of like writing about someone who didn't treat you right, who used you, who made you feel bad, just kind of that general theme. I feel like Banks is kind of a master of being so open and vulnerable and honest with her lyrics, but also leaving so much room for interpretation. I'm a huge fan of her as a lyricist. I think she's one of the most beautifully written songwriters. I spent so much time on the production for this video. The lyrics were kind of an afterthought. Yeah, if you're curious, I did all the production first, and the lyrics and the chants I did last, actually. I've literally been talking for like over an hour at this point combined, I think. So I'm gonna have a lot of editing to do because I can't stop rambling when it comes to music. This was a lot of fun. I feel like I'm glad that I did it. I definitely experimented with a lot of things that I've never tried to experiment with or tried to replicate or tried to do before that I always wanted to try. I feel like I'm shaking the table. I hope you like it. Constructive criticism is totally welcome. I kind of want to do more videos like this, so if you have any suggestions of artists that you think I could make an inspired song by, let me know in the comments. And I'm gonna play the song now and shut up. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's kind of a cool song. I wish I had time to finish it. Maybe one day I will, but I'm not gonna release it anywhere because it's just kind of practice for me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll see you next week for a brand new video. I'm gonna play a song now.
Practice what you preach to me. Proved your philosophy a lie. I stopped fighting.